minority kind of population, but multiple histories they carry with them. They have significant implications, and it could be for the matter of research. People go and stay for 2 years, people stay for 1 year for entertainment purpose, research, education, alternative medicines, all that. So in short, they say that transnationalism act as a bridge between nations and at the global level. There is a difference in a diaspora and a transnational. Yeah, they don't settle at one. So there are references. I may quote 2 or 3 maybe women writers, and then I guess we can interact. I'll sit there and get you tired. Okay, so there are prominent, yes, we have men writers, but I think the mushrooming recently in past 20 years you have women writers more. Bharti Mukherjee आपने सुना होगा सबने. MA students, Bharti Mukherjee, आपने ये नाम लिख लो. Next time, sir, I'll come only if they have read these texts.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm saying no to him.
Which text?
As such, to travel all the way is not a joke.
No, they are already reading the text.
Which one? I'm telling you the wife. Read Bharti Mukherjee's wife, Jhumpa Lahiri's namesake, Kiran Desai's, of course, very popular Pulitzer Award, Inheritance of Laws, Chitra Banerjee, you can read, she goes back to mythology, and all these Palace of Wheels and all these are there. Recently, Independence, as I said. So, well, when you talk of Bharti Mukherjee's wife, it's a story, or you could say predicament of the protagonist, or predicament of cross-cultural dichotomy which the characters go through in this. There is a protagonist, Dimple, and she has a negative effect. It sounds like, I don't know whether I can give you a little gist. And she is left undecided how to react to the cultural shock. And the story is built between 2 cultures, 2 nations, East and West, the conflict, the frustrations of, the life of in America, how men can easily settle down. A woman faces more double kind of, that feeling of otherness, because she's left her home, she's left her country, and then she doesn't know anything. More or so in many of the novels, there's a language problem. They're scared of techniques, they're scared of all these electronic gadgets, So you will find in Bharti Mukherjee, this experience is exposed, explored, and her encounter with new culture where she doesn't have a husband to listen to her, she doesn't know the language, and she doesn't have any friend there. Missing her family, missing her country, she even talks of Durga Puja. Nobody knows what is Durga Puja here, how will I do it? And she starts living in a guilt, saying, I'll be a sinner. Because she was brought up with that kind of a concept, it's in her blood, where the grandparents and parents had, given her this. So these are the kind of, differences you will find, and it compels her to become a marginalized and double marginalized, because she's absolutely goes through the loneliness. So it's not only the loneliness at back homeland you're missing, but loneliness here also. She actually reveals, and we say that it's an autobiographical and an interview, what she went through, that aloofness, and she captures this exuberance of immigration experiences beautifully, and you can read her other novels, so I'm making it short. Cultural transplant and cultural shock, crisis of identity, reconciliation, displacement. So it's not only physical displacement she talks of spiritual, mental displacement. So all these are kinds of metaphorical, I feel, diaspora. And you can talk about, in not only wife, Tiger's daughters, I remember now. Tiger's daughters you can talk about in her stories. There is also somebody, Abha Pandey, who had written on Indian diasporic literature. When she discusses works of Bharti Mukherjee, they will be great help to you people. How Mukherjee has, discussed the themes of cultural displacement there, and how she is treated by the family in American society and how she lives. She's, I just quote here, she's scared. She's also scared of these policemen. She calls them policemen, they are guards at the elevators. Right? So the language and the concept also changes. Oh, they are guards. They are not going to do harm. But she thinks they are dressed in a police uniform. Okay? So gadgets, as I told you, appliances, she doesn't know how to use and gets scared. Even a stove. It's an automatic stove. She doesn't know how to apply. The husband teaches her and then the next day she forgets. So she's scared. She feels, hungry. She doesn't want to lose. And at the same time, very interesting line, she feels she doesn't want to lose her identity, at least with the kitchen. See the word kitchen. And the girls are brought up in India. The kitchen is the kingdom of a woman here. And she says, I feel alone and a stranger in my own kitchen and I lose my identity. She feels isolated, trapped, marginalized. All these words are used here. And how can she live in a country where every other woman is a stranger to me? I am different. Sense of otherness is also there. She says, I'm different, ignored by everybody, exposed to ridicule. Even in the elevator, people look at her and keep on giving the sly smiles and all. So all these emotions are very well captured, kind of displayed by this protagonist with the cultural and social divide, which she experiences. You can also read Jhumpa Lahiri. You can also read French Lover by Taslima. The lady goes to France, but then she emerges a winner at the end of it. I'm not going into the detail of the story because you can go endlessly. Namesake was the first novel, and I think the movie was adapted on it. So where Tabu had worked on it, Gogo is the character, and it talks of the generations. And you will find it surprisingly, even the name, how from the name and identity it starts working on your personality. It's a common Indian name, suppose, right? They don't like to be called by those names. And they invent some new name which is very impressive and sounds very English, and they start talking to James, or if he's a Jagdish, people say, okay, he's a James. So it starts with the changing of the name to struggle to be accepted in that society. It starts with that also, with your dressing sense, with your language, your name, how much struggle these people have to do with. It's not there in Gulf, but it is there in European countries and US, in most of them they do it. So these are the issues which are built around the protagonist's life in Jhumpa Lahiri's namesake. And this is where I said later on they get departed, the first generation and second generation, and how this is so. You have empathy with these characters. I have discussed the whole thing, but I guess you can understand when you read it. This novel, I've seen the unforeseen and kind of incidences are there. The separations, the cultural displacement, separation from parents just to be accepted by another. So Gogol he moves away from his parents because he wants to seek a life and interprets his own cultural displacement. In fact, he feels more cultural displacement when he comes home. Why are they talking like this to me? Okay, because they have never visited India. And Indian parents, they would tell them that this is supposed to be done in the house, and they find it very funny because they had not seen while growing up around there. So this is their inheritance also. Much celebrated work people have heard about. It also talks of multiple diasporic meanings you will find there in our experiences of the people from their homeland. So they feel estranged. You have the story, it moves, it shuttles from India to US, and then you will, from different angles it has been observed, different diverse perspectives are there on immigration. So, and of course, as I mentioned about diasporic cultural conflict, which also includes the concepts of sub-nationalism, identity crisis, subaltern experiences. They have been extensively used in her. And you can talk about recently going back, revisiting the past. This is one way, and celebrating. So there is no nostalgia. Being a diasporic writer, Chitra has written like very worthy works like Palace of Wheels. You have where she revisits and rewrites about the mythological characters recently. Then Forest of Enchantress talks of Sita's character. And here right now, Independence, it talks of partition days, the families, 3 girls, how they go through, how the conflict between Pakistan and India, all that experiences. So what is happening is she's staying there, revisits, reconstructs the history, culture, everything, and wonderful writing and entraps everything. So, well, I feel that diaspora has been evolving. It has been evolving, and it is dynamic process. It is not static. Every minute of the hour you find there's a diaspora. People are moving, migrating to any part of the world, and there's a lot of physical migration. But we people have to think about mental and spiritual diaspora. This is a major question I throw at you today. Think about it. So thus we can say that it can be opinionated. Multiculturalism is a part and parcel of the civilization in the age of globalization, which has continued to ignite varied emotions, creativities, mixture of cultures, societies, reforming, resisting the orders of life. And diaspora, of course, is all about creation of new identities, new spaces for growth, boundaries to limit and also to explore, resolution of conflicts and a new culture, either composite or plural. And that is to say, diaspora writings are constructed not only on the principles of harmony, but on the principles of similarities. Mahatma Gandhi, I would like to end with this quote because I've come to the place of Mahatma Gandhi, being very inspired yesterday by your railway station. Thank you, sir, for taking me for a round there. He said in Young India, I do not want my house to be walled in all sides and my windows to be stuffed. I want the culture for all the lads to be blown about my house as freely as possible, but I refuse to be blown off my feet by any of them. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. I'm taking a seat with the permission of the chair.
Yeah, please.
And then we can interact, rather would get enlightened in it.